Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role-playing games with friends. This is part of Star Wars Saturdays, which is a series I've been running for the Gauntlet community for almost 3 years. Actually, coming up 3 years, just a few weeks. Very excited because we're having a Star Wars Special Edition celebration, hopefully. Lots and lots and lots of games are going to be firing off. The calendar looks amazing for that weekend. But we're here now, and we're going to have some fun with a game um, that's called Ross Rifles. That's the name of the game, but I reskinned it so it could be Star Wars because Ross Rifles is about World War One. It's about the Canadian Expeditionary Force experience in World War One. It's a really cool game, powered by the apocalypse, and I'm calling it Republic Rifles, and it is set in the time period after Palpatine went down the shaft and Death Star 2 blew up. So we know he's gone, super gone. And the Empire is crumbling, but it's not gone. And this game is exploring the idea of the war after Death Star 2 when there were remnants of the Empire that still existed. And generally, I'd stick to you just need to know the movies. But I wanted to use a little bit of what I found interesting, a little bit of expanded universe. There's this EU story about a guy named the Warlord Zinj. I've got a picture of him in the NPCs and places. He's a dick, and he has this little large fiefdom. He was a Moff who decided after Palpatine died that he would hold true to the Empire, would not give over. And this is the story of the world that the New Republic is trying to retake from Zinj. The war is happening on multiple fronts, many planets. It is a war across the stars, one might say. But this story is currently focused on Lavasar. Lavasar is a planet that I actually had featured in some games earlier this year, where we played the flip side and told some stories of some Imperial soldiers in the remnants, and they were on Lavasar, and that was pretty fun. Lavasar is important because it's the headquarters of Skyrung Manufacturing, which was one of the licensed builders of Lambda-class shuttles. And Skyrung Manufacturing has a number of manufacturing facilities that's the word that are in their main port city called Cyward. And so what we are currently doing is telling the story of retaking Lavasar, focusing on trying to free from the Imperial clutches the port city of Cyward. The current place where you guys have been stationed is near a river by the name of the Pilar, and the Pilar runs alongside the western part of Cyward. So just imagine big city, river that runs along it. All the bridges have been blown up because this has been a protracted trench war taking place over the course of nearly a year now. And the hope is that you guys are making your final push into Cyward. The main threat in Cyward is that there is an actual Imperial fortress that was built here, the Fortress of Riotis. And I know I'm throwing a lot of names, so I'm going to stick them in our chat just so we can refer back to them later. So it's the Pilar River, City of Cyward, and the Riotis Fortress. Those are kind of our three big things that are going on. The most recent thing that took place is that you guys in your trenches the night before our first game, which was last week, you received a lot of good food and cheer, which are more seasoned fighters, which turns out just all of you realized that was a possible last meal. And then you went up into no man's land, and you have successfully retaken the first line at this point, the first trench line of the Imperials. Took down a repeating blaster or machine gun nest, and took a number of heavy casualties, but you're currently at the last session that you guys had secured that line, found a brief respite, and tried to find a medic and an engineer to get some of your injuries taken care of. So that's all the events that lead us up to where we are in a general statement. Before we introduce characters, let me quickly go over our lines and veils, our safety tools. We have lines, which means that we're not interested in this content, and let's keep each other honest. And if anybody oversteps that line, just remind them gently. We're doing the best we can. So the lines are sexual assault, sexual violence, and sexual coercion, domestic violence, and torture by PCs, as well as cannibalism. I'm totally cool with all of those lines. I appreciate them. We have veils, which means that if this is content that comes in, we'll quickly fade to black or do a star wipe away. And the only veil we have is sexual content. And then we have 3 items that are situational, and that is called ask first, meaning if you think, oh, I'm going to answer this question or I'm going to introduce this thing, it may lean into a particular topic. And so you will check with us the table first, and if anyone says, can you try it a different way, then we'll come up with something else. And the ask firsts are childhood abandonment, suicide, and harm to children. For some reason we have ask first on one of the things that has a line, but why would you ask first? Because there's a line on it. So the line trumps the ask first. So harm to children, suicide, and childhood abandonment. And then on top of that, of course, we have our X card, which is anything you didn't realize would be something you have a line on. Just X card it. We'll pause play. I'll check in with you just to make sure I understand what was being X carded if it wasn't clear. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain why. It's probably already been crappy enough that you had a thing that you need to X card. And then we excise it from our play. No fuss, no muss. No one has ever used an X card that made a game anything but better. And I appreciate when folks do step up and use that. I would have far rather you do it than to sit quietly. I myself once sat in on a thing where if an X card had been available, I would have certainly X carded. So I appreciate that tool is there, and I make sure and encourage folks to use it. As a warning, this is a game about war. It is a game about desperate war. It is about the loss of stress. PTSD is a major factor here. So this is a game where you may lose your character. So please be advised, creating a new character, very easy. Don't worry about it. But it is war. And war, as they say in all the movies, is hell. And this game was designed to reflect that. So with all of that out of the way, thank you for putting up with my monologuing. Let's go around. We're going to introduce our existing characters and then introduce our newest character. And then, yeah, I think we'll need to work out a couple of bonds once we've done that. We'll pick right up. So we'll start from the left-hand side of the character keeper, going towards the right. Anders, you have the floor. Introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Yeah, hello. I'm Anders. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Binks or B1NX, commando droid who is left over from the separatists. He has fought for them. He fought for the Empire forcibly, and he's fighting for the New Republic. He is. It's not that he likes war, but it's what he can do. And he tries not to get too attached to his fleshy compatriots, but that doesn't always work out the way he wanted to.
Oh, and please do tell us about your personal item, because I think that's awesome.
Oh, right, yes. My personal item, my DC-15X sniper rifle. Which also contains a memory chip from one of my previous comrades. It doesn't work all that well, but there's a bit of droid brain in my rifle.
Yeah, and then chained around your neck is a deactivated restraining bolt. So that is awesome. I just love that stuff. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anders. Cody, you're up. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your character.
Hey, I'm Cody. I'm playing Sergeant Kent Randar. He's a old veteran of the rebellion who has just kept on with the war, now into the mopping up of the remnant. He's been on Lavisar since the fighting started, and he's a haggard, worn individual, and he's been around the block a few times. So while Binks might say no one enjoys it, Randar kind of does. It's kind of the only thing he's ever been good at, and he sticks to it. Yeah.
Oof, scary. Thank you very much, Cody. Let's see. Yeah, you've got a badass vibro knife and your personal item, which I don't think we've seen on screen.
No, it hasn't come up yet, but I'm excited for it too at one point.
Absolutely. All right, Josh, you are up. Please introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Yeah, hi, I'm Josh. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Corporal Nek Fetu, who is a Bothan member of the rebellion. He's been on planet for a very long time. He was on the, second wave of ships that landed. It was supposed to be a relief force. It was not a relief force. It was just another fighting troop. So he's kind of stuck there. Very purposefully avoiding promotion. He doesn't want the responsibility. He doesn't want the risk. But he has an obligation to the rebellion, he feels, because a large portion of his family was harmed in the purges on Bothawi after the Death Star plans were leaked. And now he has, kind of a vendetta. The Empire killed his family. It's not something that he's willing to forgive.
That is pretty awesome. I mean, sad, but great for a war. Good stuff. All right, let's work out some bonds. If you could, we'll start with Nick. You're saying Nick or you're Neek, or how are you saying his name again?
I said Nek, but
okay, cool. Nek Fetu.
So
awesome. Let's have you extend a bond to each of the existing characters, and then if you guys, Anderson, Cody, work out a bond that you have back, that would be great.
Yeah. So I think that if you're all right with this, Anders, I think that Binks and I were the only survivors of an enemy raid. We survived because blank. I think that we played dead, right? While they burst into our trench, and I sort of just dragged you down on top of me, and hoped that no one was going to investigate the droid lying in the dirt. And they managed to pass us by.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Nice. That is creepy. I love it. And what bond do you have with Sergeant Randar?
I think that we often butt heads when strategizing. I think Randar is a little bit too bold for my liking.
Definitely, that works. I like that.
Just to be clear, I think I stole that one as my relationship with Randar.
Oh,
so maybe everyone butt heads with Randar. Yeah.
Yeah, because I only had one predefined bond in my playbook, but that's fine. We can both have that.
I'm okay with it if you guys are okay with it.
Maybe Randar is not the most popular officer.
Apparently not, but he gets the job done. Damn it.
He has so far. It might be that he kind of lets the lieutenant give orders without being like within the sector. That might be one of the things they don't love about it. Is you seem to be covering for him a little bit.
All right, I'm taking a page from Andrew's book. I'm going to steal a bond from another playbook. Okay, I think it might be this one. This is from the replacement book. I think Nick has seen me make a critical error. I have to work extra hard to prove myself to them.
Yeah, works for me.
Do we want to put a little color on
Yeah.
that, or at least a name to it? What was the critical error? Who paid for it?
I don't know. What was it, Corporal?
I think that your because you chose not to fortify our defenses, that's when the remnants burst through, and B1NX and I had to play dead for a couple hours while they tore through the trench.
That's pretty cool. So you're tying it into the only survivors of the enemy raid thing there. That's pretty cool.
Perfect.
And then Binks, what bond do you think you have with Corporal Fatu?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There aren't that many predefined bonds. And some of them are so specific to the playbook. But I guess we can make something up.
Sure.
Let's see. I kind of want to go with this hating the empire thing, but I think maybe I feel I'm conflicted about your hatred for the empire. It makes you a good fighter, but maybe reckless. Something something along those lines.
Absolutely.
I think that's great. That's really cool because it's actionable and it's a thing that you could potentially resolve. I like that a lot. Good. Okay, so we have our bonds worked out. Thank you all for taking that little bit of extra time. I'll share with you later via email the Jakku Battleground Ambience music soundscape that I always listen to for the last 2 weeks because, boy, it's unnerving. The sounds of the low booms and the screaming sound of arcs of artillery fire. And that's generally what we open this scene with. It is cacophony. You can tell that something is building and growing. You're currently in an Imperial trench. And I'm curious, Binks, you're the one who's a little bit of an Imperial expert. What is it about Imperial trenches that other folks might notice that's different than New Republic trench? Is it that they've been here for much longer, or are there particular accoutrements that are located here? What is it that they are noticing first time in an Imperial trench?
They always build them in very straight lines, and they have a very specific. They have determined what the layout is going to be, and they don't care how the terrain interferes with that. They build according to their layout, and very strictly. They have a pattern and they follow it.
That's fantastic. That's very Imperial too. I mean, they don't use guardrails in the middle of the Death Star, so obviously they don't care about human safety or the safety of gentle beings. And what happens at this point is, we'll say, Corporal Fatu, you were part of the section that came across over no man's land. You were involved in your own little fights, and you've just now been pulled back into the sector. They're currently still in an area that has a bit of a roof. Oh, that's right. We had a grenade go off. So not much of a roof. Like the roof is somewhat fallen in, but it's still a little bit of cover. It is raining heavily now. So the mud is sucking at your boots, and going up into no man's land is going to be a slow slog. When the medic heads on, he's got to take care of some other people. They're already trying to get up a small bit of replacement folks to carry stretchers out of this trench. When Sergeant Randar, over the horn, you hear your buddy, the lieutenant, Lieutenant Hula Tassam, and see as he comes over and
Randar, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Hula. What do you need?
Good. Hey, you got that medic, right? You guys got all fixed up?
I wouldn't say all fixed up, but the medic came, yes.
All right. Good. Hey, listen. I need you to pull your sector in. We've got a mission right now for you. We've got some Republic tanks, AV-7s. The AV-7s are getting slowed down by some barbed wire, but they can take care of that. The problem is there's some anti-vehicles, some cannons, artillery that may be able to take them out. They're starting to get in range. There's 2 artillery that I need you and your sector to take out.
Yeah, we can do that. Give me the coordinates. And Kent Randar turns around, kind of like lays out a little map. I assume there's still some sort of, tactical map. And he's looking at the ridges and the attack plans and stuff like that. Hula, these tanks, where are they heading? Where do we need to go?
And we'll say that one of the things I'm thinking is it's still pretty ancient tech, right? It's a long time ago. So I think the way that communication works on the battlefield is that it has to be heavily encoded. Mm-hmm. So what they do is they drop beacons along no man's land across. And so there was a sector that dropped enough beacons for you to be able to get a readout on your data pad of the minefield as it is. There's lots of fogs of war in areas, but you get the general coordinates. Of course, you'd have to stick your head up to double check the coordinates, but the coordinates you have, and I actually misspoke. So it's AATs, armored assault tanks, that are actually, Binks, you would recognize, because these AATs used to be clone operated, or not clone, actually they were drone operated. They're Clone War era stuff. The AATs were used by the Trade Federation, but they've been retrofitted for the New Republic. The AV-7 anti-vehicle cannon, I'll show you a quick picture of what they look like. They are massive in a space opera kind of way. That is a stormtrooper right there, just so we're clear. And they are operated by stormtroopers, not by the folks that you've been fighting with in the trenches. So just a reiteration of what the lieutenant said is, he said that there are some New Republic tanks that are trying to move across. They're hover tanks, so they can actually go over top of the trenches, but they're about to get in range of those AV-7 anti-vehicle cannons, and the lieutenant has assigned you to try to take them out. So there you go.
All right. Yeah, Lieutenant, we can make that happen. Let me gather my men and we'll push out. Give us about 10 minutes here.
Okay, I'll tell them to hold back.
Thanks,
Listen,
Lieutenant.
This is important. If we can clear the way for these tanks, they can start to batter down the hatches on that fortress, okay?
Hula, when have you ever told me something that wasn't important? All right, that's what I thought, Lieutenant. Now let me get back to business. Right. Binks, where you at? Binks.
I'm right here, Sarge.
All right. I need you to gather up what men we have in the section. I believe Nick should be around somewhere, probably sticking his neck out. And we need to get some people together. We need to go take out some tanks, some anti-tank machinery. We need to push out soon. Gather up whatever supplies you can get. Did an engineer get to you?
Yeah, I've had some basic repairs.
All right, that's about all we can do for now, unfortunately. It's just the way of the world. You know how that works. So let's gather up and let's move out here in 5 minutes.
5 minutes, Roger.
Cool. So, as you guys, I love you tell him 10 minutes and you give them 5 minutes. That's very good. Don't forget, you guys have some harm that you've tried to take care of. You do have some stress. From the basic moves, you can provide comfort, and that will allow folks to remove some stress. It looks like your sergeant might be a little stressed. Corporal, somehow the force ghosts have smiled upon you because you have no stress and no injuries. You just muddy. That blood on your uniform, that's not yours. You're fine. Anything you guys want to do during these 5 minutes that Randar has given you? All right.
I think I want to either ask around or scan the horizon to see if I can figure out something about exactly how dangerous it would be to get to these anti-vehicle guns. And I'm better at eye than wit, so scan the horizon maybe.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's have you scan the horizon. Of course, that means that you've got to. Oh, I'm kind of imagining like maybe you've got one of those like periscope type deals near this machine gun nest that looks back, so you can grab that and use that to roll with your eye to see what you can find out.
So do we have a link to the dice roller?
We do, but let me throw another one in the chat because I've thrown a bunch.
Oh, sorry, I found it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Just need to, and this, I have a +1, but we have a general -1 because of the situation.
Thank you for that reminder. Yeah, so Josh, there are a couple of things that are a little different about PBTA in this game. Number one is that when you're in a particular scenario, there will be a generalized threat level, and as long as that threat level is active, the level of the threat is a -2 whatever you're doing. The threat level here is a 1, which means that everything you roll while you're in combat is at a -1 before you add any stats. The other thing that's a little interesting, at first I was like, I didn't believe in it, but I've grown to like it, is the morale as well as the aid rolls. So when you aid folks, you can give them pluses to their next roll. But if you're aiding, you also can add to a stat called morale, and that morale can be spent after a roll. So there's 2 ways that you can boost up folks' rolls. It's pretty interesting. It's like when you get in it, and you're mostly like burning through morale, and then we have a bit of rest. You can try to help each other out to build the morale back. So with all of that explanation, sorry about that. Thanks. What is the eye roll that you've got here?
Yeah, let's see. That's a 5.
It is. Yeah, because your eyes are 1, so you're rolling flat. Sweet. So you pop that little periscope up and bing, it immediately gets shot. There's a sniper out there, and they have got their eyes fixed on your position. I think that is going to give you 1 stress.
I'd like to work while at rest. So while I have them, while I gave Binks the order to round everybody up, and I kind of have 5 minutes to myself, I want to go over the chart, the map, kind of get a lay of the land from what I remember, to try and chart the safest route for us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Now, don't forget, we also have strategize.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In fact, in our feedback, I think it's because I got it so far to the right there. But that was one of the feedbacks from last session, is we wanted to try to hit that move. So don't forget that's out there as well.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, as I'm reading the description, that's exactly what I'm looking at here, right? It's the objective we're gonna head up there
Mhm.
and take out some tanks. If you have the resources and intelligence, receive +1 for each on a 10 plus.
I
Okay.
think you have intelligence because you dropped on the map. You've gotten a little bit of that intel. I don't know if you have the resources.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so either. And that's kind of, now I'm wondering, in my head, what I'm thinking of a strategy, right, is so the intelligence is how to get there safely. We know what it is we're up against. The resources would be, now when we get there, here's what we need to, blow them to hell or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what I would like to do in my mind. But I don't think any of us have grenades.
Nope.
And I think Sabine is the one who scavenged some and didn't get.
Yep.
So what I would like to do is strategize a way that we can get there as safe as possible and retrofit a shell from the anti-tank like machinery to act as a charge, to at least blow out one of the legs or what have you. I think that's the plan.
Okay, that's what you want to try to work out. That sounds good. So because you have intelligence, that gives you a +1, which will take down that threat level. So you're rolling flat, but then you get to choose the attribute that seems appropriate for the way. Oh, it's you roll without any. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's just.
So you're rolling flat. You're just rolling flat. All right, here we go.
All right, 2d6. And roll the dice. 7.
Oof. Okay. On a 7 to 9, the section will encounter unexpected complications. Awesome. So you're charting out this information, like you've got a path. You have some, we'll say you get a new feed from one of the X-Wings that's been flying over with a camera trying to map out any of the emplacements, repeating blaster / machine gun emplacements. And per our expert droid, we of course know that no man's land has mines as well as booby traps. So you're getting a little bit of that information, but the unexpected problem is that little thing that Binks encountered, which is that there's a sniper who's got their eyes on your position, and it appears, Binks, that they are at some kind of elevated point. So the moment you pop your head up, whoever goes first is going to get hurt. Yeah, so that's your unexpected complication. What do you do? It's been 5 minutes.
Well, I'll yell for Binks again. Binks is kind of my aide de camp, I guess. Binks, where is everyone? Where's Corporal Neck? What, Binks?
I think everyone's keeping their head down, and I show you the periscope with the blaster hole right in the center of the of the upper mirror.
Well, that will complicate things. Corporal Fatu, where you at?
Yeah, Neck, it sort of crawls out from one of the dugouts in the wall of the trench.
Well, look at you. You look sprightly. Did you not take any fire coming in here?
No, sir.
All right. Well, then, Neck, I'm gonna need you to go first. You seem to have luck on your side, and that boffin the subtlety. It sounds like we have a sniper keyed in on our position. We need to exit this trench, move forward to this forward position to take out these anti-tank artillery nests. It looks like it's just the three of us in this section who are heading. I'm not sure. Rich, out of character, is the section comprised of us and then like some other soldiers? Or
Yeah,
just
we've got some other soldiers that will kill like red shirts to make this seem even more scary.
Reasonable. Well, I think we need to grab Corporal. I think you need to take a couple of these soldiers, and I need you to give them the order to lay down some fire from that side of the trench to draw the sniper's eye, and then we can exit this side and make our way to cover, and hopefully we'll lose them in that conflict. Does that sound about right?
Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right.
Neck rounds up a troop to go head off down the side of the trench.
All right. Thank you, Corporal. And kind of Randar leans up against the trench, watches Corporal Fatu get a couple of guys ready, and he kind of readies a hand action to signal. And then dang it. I guess I think I misspoke. What I was hoping what you do is that Corporal Josh, you would gather up some guys and you'd have them ready for my signal, but you would come back with us. I don't know if I think I messed that up.
Okay, cool, got it.
Because I want the three of us to be together, obviously,
Yes,
and a couple
like
extra soldiers as well, obviously.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I'm glad for that. Thank you for that clarification. So then you're using some of these, and I'm going to say, Feitu, when you grab a few of the privates that are in this sector who made it across, one of them's eyes are just like huge. They're all humans, and they look so young. Like they should not be here. They are too young. You've reached that point where everyone who shows up here is just too young for any of this silliness. So you send them off and they start heading down. And what the plan is for them to like start popping their heads up to draw the sniper's fire so that you guys can get a beat on them. Is that what you wanted to do, Sergeant?
The suggestion was that they would lay down some fire from their spot. So, even if they don't have to pop their heads up, if they can just make a ruckus on one side, the sniper might look that way.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of them like sticks their blaster up and starts just firing wildly. And then one of them pops their heads up and immediately gets capped. But the sniper is paying attention to them. What do you want to do? You want to charge towards your objective?
Charge towards the objective. All
right. You get to make a valor roll, unless you're doing something else. Like you could, Feitu or Binks, let Randar charge and do another action, but let's go ahead and see how your valor roll goes. Don't forget, you're rolling valor -1, so 2d6 + 1 is your roll.
13.
Okay. 13 is pretty
good, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty good. 10 plus, you race towards your objective. So with the sniper distracted, you start racing forward and you pick them out. You see that the sniper is actually pretty far away, like up on a raised area that used to be a building, but it's bombed out so much that there's just like the skeletal remains of a building. You've got that sniper picked out. You're able to dive to cover before they swing their very long barreled blaster rifle back your way.
Knowing that, seeing like getting that kind of fortuitous chance of like that's where they are. Randar kind of dives into this cover and then gets up on a shoulder and looks back towards Binks and Feitu, and uses the various hand gestures and stuff to signal out like, he up on the hill, he's here, whatever, and gives up like a count of 3, and Randar is going to distract so Binks can line up a shot.
Nice.
Is the plan.
Yeah, this sounds awesome. So then I think you're just trying to aid Binks to take a sniper shot now that you've dialed in who it is. Does that sound right, Anders? So you're going to go ahead and take the shot? Okay, cool. So go ahead and roll your aid, Sergeant Randar. You roll with valor.
Well, I got a 4. So that's about as as bad as I could get.
Okay, great. So yeah, you try to draw fire and I think you take harm, which is good. You actually got the snipers, but yeah, you get shot right in the shoulder. Go ahead and mark a harm. Anders, take your shot. You see the muzzle flame from the blaster and you see the red blaster bolt fire across and hit your sergeant.
Yeah, Binks rises up from the trench and lines up his shot. And I guess I'm rolling flat again because I have a +1 in eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't change the name. It's the same, but it's a 10.
Oh, sweet. So you're rolling flat. You got a 10. That is awesome. So on a 10 plus, your shot is on target. What does it look like when you take out that sniper?
I think Randor is drawing his fire, and I see like out of the corner of my eye that Randor gets hit. But I see that the sniper is still tracking him. So I take that extra second to aim, just hoping that the sniper won't have time to fire another shot. Just to be extra sure I'm firing at the right spot.
Awesome. And you take that extra second, and then you see the barrel moving towards you, and you see a glint of the sun through the rain off of the sniper's their scope. And that's when you fire and you hit them center mass, and they fall back down behind cover. You don't know if they fell dead or if you just hurt or spooked them, but you're pretty sure you saw a little flare of some blood.
As
Corporal.
long as they're not shooting on us, firing at us anymore, that's good enough.
Corporal Nekfe 2, you've got your orders, and you just saw the sniper on your side try to take out the sniper on their side. What are you doing?
I'm gonna advance, I think.
All right,
Seems
give
like
me a
this
charge.
is wonderfully clear cover for that.
You also have a Valor of 2, so you're rolling 2d6 plus 1.
All right. There's the dice roller. I'd lost it in my tabs.
I have so many tabs open right now. It's just stupid. Oh my. Okay. So on 6-, you missed your chance, and the enemy opens fire. So I think
I would like to position some morale his way. I think this plan is going pretty well, aside from the sergeant being shot. I think he gets a +1 to that roll.
All right, burn that morale, and that +1 will push that up to a 7. You make your way through danger. When you do, like, the sniper was keeping people pinned, but there are still trench lines that are going on. So you have to make a choice. You make serious gains, but the cost of your stamina marks stress, or you face a new obstacle. What would you like?
Let's say I face a new obstacle. What do I discover in no man's land as I'm making this charge?
Awesome. So you charge ahead to catch up to Sergeant Randar when you hear the scream of a TIE fighter, a pair of TIE fighters like zooming across. And when you glance up, right, because you're more focused on this, when you glance up, you see that the two of them are in a dogfight with an X-Wing. It is actually the X-Wing that was scanning over, kind of doing a circle and trying to send data back. And you see that the TIE fighters, whoever the X-Wing pilot is able to avoid their fire for a bit, but then it loops back and then it takes a hit, and you see it crash about a quarter mile ahead of you on Imperial lines, behind Imperial lines. But you make your way up to Sergeant Randar and say that you guys are kind of dropped down in a huge crater. So it's not actually anybody's trench. It's kind of in the middle. You've been able to take out the sniper. Binks, you're still back in the Imperial trench that you guys had taken. But you have this huge crater, and you see that there's like a mud-covered, kind of almost battered down stormtrooper helmet in there. You see like one of the little eye covers is broken. You see a dead eye looking at you, but maybe it was just a head. Maybe everything else is submerged in the mud. The crater itself has about this much standing water, and it's raining so heavy. But the crater is large enough for the two of you to be able to sit at the edge and take a look at the trench. You see the artillery guns are not far from you.
So, Neck sees this crash, the plume of smoke starts to rise, and he looks at the sergeant. He goes, "I think the man's dead. I don't think there's a way he could have survived that."
Did you see an explosion?
He shot down the fighter. What? look, with the blaster fire tearing through that armor, okay. If you can get back to base, they're going to be mad. If there's something in that X-wing that they can harvest, then I don't know. Do we need to get it back? Is there? God.
Corporal, tell me what exactly you saw. And Randar kind of pulls out his map a little bit. He's like, while we're waiting for Binks to join us, quickly, give me a quick sit rep.
Yeah, and he points the map. He says, all right, 2 TIE fighters, 1 X-wing. They were shooting dogfight. The X-wing is down. It's behind enemy lines. From the smoke, I'd guess quarter mile. It's.
And where did you see it? And he kind of gestures on this map.
Yeah. Where is it in relation to the anti-tank artillery that we're aiming at?
That's a great question. So if the artillery is to your north, then it's kind of to the northeast. You'd need to move generally towards your objective, but then peel off to head towards the right-hand side. Now, sorry.
I'm going to pick up the stormtrooper. I'm going to pick up the stormtrooper helmet in the mud, and I'm going to hold it up to my head and see if the radio in it still works.
Oh, that is really clever. That is awesome. Let's see if there's a move to tie to that. Let's see. I think that might be a work while at rest. I don't know. This is kind of preparations, but
either that or scan the horizon.
Oh, that could be interesting. Yeah, you're gathering intelligence.
But I'm not sure. Or it's just an aid to something else, maybe.
So here's the short version. You pull the helmet off, flip it over, start looking inside, and while it's wet, it's got muck, it's got decomp inside it, it smells bad, but you wipe it out and you see, it looks like it's still operational.
Yeah, and I hold up this like stained helmet. The white plastic is not plastic because it's Star Wars, whatever it is just covered in gross thing. And I toss it to Sergeant Randar. I said, ask him yourself.
That's nice. So as you guys are doing that, I'm going to cut over to Binks. Binks, you saw that as well. You saw the dogfight. You saw the X-Wing go down. You also saw that the X-Wing pilot ejected. And they have, the pilot seat shot up. It's got its own little jet engine things. And you see that the pilot is trying to kind of direct it back towards friendly lines, but it is just a straight up target. Like you see all these red blaster bolts are firing up through the sky and they're all firing at the pilot as Neck and Randar are working on the stormtrooper helmet. What do you do, Binks, when you see this going on?
I think I have to get to Randar and Neck to let them know. So I guess I'm charging.
Yeah, well, guess what? You don't have a threat level right now because they are focusing on taking out an X-Wing pilot. So you get to roll straight up Valor. Good luck.
So I'm rolling flat as usual then, because I have a 0 Valor.
Instead of a minus. Oh, dice love you. Don't forget, misses are XP in this. No, I'm so sorry. They're not. Doing mission objectives is XP. Sorry, I was playing a game with Mrs. XP last night and it infected my brain. I apologize. So it's just bad. It's just bad. Sweet. You pop out to charge, but they evidently there were a bit of the Imperials who were keeping their eyes on the sniper, and they fire on you. So Yeah, go ahead and mark harm, but you do reach Randar, who's wearing a stormtrooper helmet. So there might be a moment as you reach that crater, a moment where you're like, "Oh no, a trooper!" But then you come down into this large crater.
Yeah, I think I've half raised my rifle before I realize what's going on. But yeah, there was an X-wing that went down, and the pilot is still alive, but he's taking a lot of fire.
Randar kind of rips the helmet off of him. He's like, the pilot escaped. Okay, that changes things a little bit. They could still get to that X-wing. There is going to be intel on that ship. We need to destroy it as well. Judging by where Corporal and Fay 2 saw it crash, it is after the artillery. We need to take out that artillery first. Then we can push on and destroy the remains of that X-wing, rip out the droid, whatever we need to do. But we can't leave that intel behind enemy lines. We either push these lines forward and reclaim that land, or we destroy that X-wing. Now, I can't help that the pilot's taking heavy fire. There's not much we can do from this point. That's just the way it is, I think. When I put on the Stormtrooper helmet, did I get any intel from them, from chatter over the line or anything?
Let's go ahead and pilot makes down all. I repeat, pilot.
It sounds like they're focusing the pilot. It's real tough chatter. This thing's blasted. He tosses the helmet. Because that's a good idea to get rid of your intel source. Yeah, I think he's going to kind of gun up and get ready for another charge.
Sweet. So you've taken out the sniper. You have the artillery that is your current objective. Then you realize, hey, I'm definitely going to need to do something about that X-wing as well. So, Sergeant, where do you want to charge towards?
I want to make sure my understanding is correct. The artillery is closer than the X-wing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah, we got to move to the next safe spot. So it's charging to the artillery.
Okay. Sounds awesome.
So long as nobody butts heads with me on this.
I mean, yeah, it's always butt heads with you. All right, give us a charge. The threat level is back up.
All right, threat level is back to 1.
So you're rolling 2d6 plus 1.
And I get a 9.
Oh, nice. A 9. All right, you get a choice on charge. You make serious gains, but the cost of your stamina marks stress. Which means you'll be right on top of those troopers, or you encounter another obstacle.
I think would it be worth pushing this to a 10.
No, it's not worth it. I'm going to take another stress, actually.
Awesome.
I'm going to take -1 to an attribute. I'm going to take -1 to my brawn because I'm getting tired.
Yeah. I think it's a thing where you're pushing, your muscles are just filled with lactic acid. You have to drop a couple times, belly crawl, and you're just pouring with sweat. It is not good. That sounds awesome. Good. So yeah, you make your way to the artillery. Corporal Negfei 2, I think you are next to go. What do you want to do here? You see your sergeants charged ahead. You often butt heads with them, but this is your mission.
This is my mission. I can't do anything about that X-wing if I'm lying dead in a ditch. So I gotta get as close as I can, and it seems like the best way to do that is to follow behind while the cover is drawn up to the pilot up there.
All right. Go ahead and roll with Valor. Let's see, it'll be 2d6 plus 1 for you.
And the threat is 0.
The threat's 1, and you have a Valor of 2, so it's 2d6 plus 1.
Cool.
Also 9. Look at that 9s. Oh, so many 9s. Are you asking someone to push that up to a 10 and use up the rest of the morale?
No, I I will take that stress.
Okay. Yeah. Same thing where you end up having to kind of roll into a couple of craters. There's a point where you reach your hand over and you see this little nodule up in the dirt, and you realize that that's a mine. And so you move around it, but you're just moments from like placing your hand over it when you crawled through, and you eventually approach, and you're right up beside Randar. And there are, again, 2 artillery with stormtroopers in it, and there are a few stormtroopers that are near the base of it who have been firing on you guys. This is the first time you've encountered stormtroopers. Everybody else that you've hit in the trenches are just mostly almost all humans or near humans in mud-soaked brownish armor. Binks, what are you doing?
Is this something where I could support them with fire from where I am, or do I need to advance to be useful?
I mean, you've got a sniper rifle, so you probably could support from where you are, but if anything weird goes on, then you're at some point going to have to cross no man's land to get to them. So if you want to stay and snipe, basically support position from where you are in that crater, you can.
I think I'm going to follow them. We should stick together.
Okay, go ahead and charge. Your valor is a 0, so you're rolling a -1. Good luck.
I was going to say, could I assist here at this point? Seeing that I charged through and I just exhausted myself, seeing the corporal follow up and that he kind of found mines, I want to like point out to Binks where I want to try and guide him along the path.
Okay. Go ahead and roll plus valor because you're providing aid.
That's just a +1 because of the threat. I got a 7.
Okay. And a 7 to 9 on aid. You're going to receive some unwanted attention. That means that you guys, your position is known now. And there are a few troopers that are going to be trying to move up on your position. Corporal Fetu, you see that as Randar is helping Binks coordinate.
And
that
it looks
aid,
like...
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it looks like we also gain a morale.
You do.
Right?
You do.
That happens
Yes.
no matter what.
It does. Yep. Add 1 morale. Thank you for catching that. I should have pointed that out as well, which means you're rolling flat, Binks.
Woohoo!
Fight for every +1.
Let's see.
11. Man, there you
my
go.
God.
Oh, that's awesome. 10 plus, you race towards your objective. Following Sergeant Randar's instructions, you definitely avoid the mine, and the fact that those troopers are now approaching your position, they don't even draw a bead on you, Binks, and you reach Corporal Fetu and Sergeant Randar. You guys are...
So I imagine I'm doing this, like running doubled over, but since I'm a droid, I can also keep my head up.
Oh,
And I'm just throwing myself from side to side. And
you're doing the Naruto run. I love it. No.
Yeah.
And just because I like the idea of it, let's say you guys are like now that section of building that the sniper was in, and it's kind of like if you imagine a building's like the side of a building's like this, it's like this much of building, and it kind of curves up, and there's a little bit of support structure, and it curves up to the second story where the sniper was. Now you guys are there, you're right beside the artillery guns, you can fire on it from this position, but you know there's some stormtroopers that are moving your way. So yeah, Sergeant Randar, you've got your sector moved up here, your section moved up. What do you want to do? What's the plan to take out these artillery?
So the plan was to get in close and to retrofit some ordnance as a charge. But there's troopers here and we're in this place. I think we got to take some troopers out. I think we need to mount an offensive. There's no sneaking in here, I don't think. So Sergeant Randar kind of pulls out his pistol and his trench knife because for some reason he didn't have it earlier, I guess. And he looks to the other 2 members of his section. You ready to kill some troopers, boys?
Always.
Nice. Pop out and pull the trigger. Let's see you do it. You're exposing yourself to the enemy and take a shot. Roll with eye, right. Sergeant Randar.
Good thing my eye is so low.
So yeah, they're rolling a -2 then.
So are we each making a roll, or are we like, should we aid, or
If you each want to make a roll, you can take out more of them. But if you aid, then you can probably like give cover, which means that you guys are less exposed to getting shot back, if that makes sense, right? If all
Got
three
it.
of you
Yeah.
roll out and pull the trigger, then you could potentially take out all of these troopers. But if you're giving each other cover, then
Well, that's what's going to happen, Rich, is the force is with us, and we're going to just wipe them all out, obviously.
I believe in you.
All right, here comes my pull the trigger. 5.
I mean, got a -2. You rolled a 7. Don't feel bad. That's yeah.
this was a bad plan, Sergeant?
You tell him after he charges out. Randar, you come forward, you fire on one of the stormtroopers, take him out. 2 of them fire on you, one missing badly, the other one does hit you in the chest, and you're going to have to mark another harm. You are now going to critically wounded. It knocks you. You lose your feet at this point. Your feet give out underneath you. And yeah, you guys just saw Randar charge out. Corporal Fay 2, what are you doing?
I have a field dressing kit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a bad situation for our commanding officer to be in. So I'm gonna attend to Randar and let our sniper take care of the people coming at us.
All right. Sweet. So you're just moving in to try to grab him out of danger. I think. What are you? I'm sorry. What are you angling for? I want to make sure I.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull him back into cover and make sure that he is not slaughtered by stormtroopers.
I think. Yeah. I think you're bogged down. You're gonna have to push yourself through or free yourself from battlefield obstacles, and the bogged down. If you're successful, you pull him back into a bit of safety.
Okay. Bogged down is plus
Brawn.
brawn.
So you're rolling at a -1.
It's not fall back, maybe?
Oh, you know what? Fallback is even better. That's a good suggestion. Sorry. Yeah. You're trying to retreat him to a safe area. So roll plus wit. Sorry. That's a good
makes more
suggestion.
sense.
Thank you. And you're a little better at that. So you're rolling at +1 because of the threat level.
8.
Nice. Okay. So on fallback, you can select the complication, mark harm or mark stress, but you do make it to safety with Sergeant Randar.
Yes.
Or lose a personal item.
Oh, right. Yeah. Or lose a personal item. Nice.
I'll mark harm. So I am now lightly wounded.
So what does that look like, Corporal Fay 2, when you see Randar go down and you charge out with some troopers laying fire down? What does that look like?
So I see him take a hit, and it, clearly he's not doing great right now. So I run out of the crater that we are hiding in, and I grab him and start pulling him back into cover. And I get grazed by a blaster shot from one of the stormtroopers. It hits my leg, and I sort of stumble back, and we fall back into the crater. But we are out of, shooting sight.
As he's dragging me back, I'm just like firing with my pistol limply, not even aiming, just sending blaster bolts wildly behind us.
I like it. Binks, you know that there are still a few stormtroopers out there. Your sergeant took out a couple of them, I'm pretty sure. Now what?
But they are moving towards us, right? They're coming for us.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're trying to close on your position. They're firing in like 2-by-2 cover formation. So like one fires, the other moves forward kind of thing. They're well trained and they are wearing armor. They're like elite.
Yeah, this is scary. How far away are they? Or basically, is this a situation where it's they're like 100 yards out and it's shooting is the only option, or
No,
or-
they're close. Like they're within you said yards, so I can respond in yards. They're like 30 yards away. Sorry, I'm used to like trying to do meter conversion for my offshore friends or whatever words.
yards and meters are close enough that it's no biggie.
They are pretty close.
Anyway, because I think I'm trying to play to my brawn here, because I'm a lot better at close-up fighting than shooting. So I think if I can go for up close and personal, I'd like to do that.
Yeah. So you just roll up on these guys. This is terrifying.
Yeah, I think because I lost my shock baton last session, so I think Corporal Neck is like pulling the sergeant back and he's shooting his gun, but he's got his trench knife. So I think I just lean down and I'll borrow this for a moment and grab the trench knife, and then kind of, since I have this camouflage paint, I kind of circle around to get at these troopers from the side, from like the shadow of this bombed out building.
CK, look right, droid.
And then, but they're not fast enough to fire at you until you are right in their face. Get up close and personal. Go ahead and roll with brawn.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't think my trooper move works here because I'm not attacking them in their own trench. It's not like that actual storming
I think
situation.
so. I think this is what you're doing. Like I think that move is close enough to apply. So instead of up close and personal, let's have you do trooper. You're taking down a group of enemy soldiers in their own like trench. The trench being protecting this artillery thing. So here we go.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm at a +1. Woohoo! Let's see. That's a 6.
Morale to 7, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
You have to take what you can get. You resort to stealth, failing to strike but remaining hidden in the space. You strike, but one of your adversaries escapes the space, meaning one of the troopers will get away. You strike, but you slip or falter. You succeed, but I present you with the consequence of these actions.
I think one of them gets away.
That feels the most right to me. I really dig that.
Yeah.
I'm clearing out.
So
what does that look like, Binks, as you take out the 2 of the remaining 3 troopers?
One of them shouts a warning, but I'm too close to one of them for him to react. So I stab this trench knife like up under the chin of his helmet and rip it out, and there's blood spraying everywhere. And I charge charge the second one and just leap at him and knock his blaster aside and just start stabbing at him, trying to find a weak spot until I can get in somewhere under the armpit or something where the armor plates doesn't cover him, and the third one runs away.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, he takes off. Whew, that is good stuff. You are bought a moment of respite. Sergeant Randar, and Corporal Fay 2 pulls you back to a safe space, and there's still that constant barrage of the artillery. You're right on it, so you can hear them boom, boom, just pounding your lines, but you you have this moment, Sergeant Randar. What do you do?
I think Randar looks up to Fatu and kind of has that tired look in his eyes, like I was just about dead. But that's not what he says. Instead, he says, Corporal, I need you to find a shell and get it rigged up to explode. Leave me back here. Give me a minute. I'll be on my feet in no time. I need you to move forward with the plan. Get Banks, grab a shell, and get ready.
Yes, sir, Sergeant. I'll be back for you. Don't worry.
Oh, you're not going to need to be back for me. I'll be up in no time. And he pulls out a death stick and lights it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Neck pats him on the shoulder, and then he's over the side of the crater.
Okay. So Fatu, you spy Binks as he's finishing off one of the troopers. One of the troopers has run past the artillery guns, and he's run past him, and he's trying to draw a bead on you guys. He's obviously reporting what's happened. They're aware. They're probably calling for reinforcements. You only have a few moments before this starts to get worse. And as you're scanning around, you see this little flare fire up from a space behind enemy lines. It might be that X-Wing pilot. You're not sure. What do you do?
So how close are we to the actual artillery installation?
You could lob a grenade and take out at least one of the artillery guns right now. It's 50 feet away, maybe.
And these are operated by one stormtrooper sitting on like a...
Correct. Yes. That stormtrooper can, if they need to, like they can kind of manually get it up and the legs will start to walk forward, but they seem to be... They're in these like slightly recessed things, so there's you can't easily pick out the entirety of the artillery gun itself.
Yeah. Nick looks at Binks. He goes, I don't know how we're gonna break that thing, but it doesn't look that hard to use. And we got to get that X-Wing out of the picture.
If we can take over one of the guns, maybe we can take out the X-Wing.
That's what I'm thinking. If we start firing behind their lines, they are going to blow these things up for us.
Yeah, we just don't want to be here when that happens.
Well, we can worry about that afterwards.
Or we can't.
Well, if we can't, then we're not going to be worrying about anything, Binks. So I don't think it's worth talking about that possibility, all right? We have a job to do.
All right, Corporal. How do you suggest we do it?
So Corporal Neck is going to try to sneak up to the base of the artillery unit and climb up and club whoever is sitting in it with his shock baton. Seize control, spin it around, shoot at the X-Wing is the plan.
Oh, nice. That is amazing. I mean, that's going to take a few rolls to pull off successfully, but that's pretty awesome. And I assume Binks, you're going to kind of give him cover, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So first, let's see.
Try to spot for enemy activity so I can warn him if something seems to be going terribly wrong.
Nice.
So
are you being a survivor here? Or do you think you're blending in?
I think right now I'm blending in.
Okay.
I think probably later I'm gonna have to be a survivor if I don't want to die here, but
yeah, to me, I always try to at least find triggers for your individual playbook moves, but yeah, I think blend in fits best here. So let's go ahead and have you roll with wit.
Nine.
Nice. Okay. Look at that. 7 to 9, you avoid detection, but are put in a difficult situation. Let's see. So you avoid detection, but are put in a difficult situation. I think what happens is you belly crawl your way forward. Binks is firing on the trooper, and the trooper who was hoping to defend the 2 artillery emplacements. Get to the crest of the hole, and you see that you're able to move in on that stormtrooper to take them out. But as you start to climb up the ladder, you see coming over the ridge, like from one of the trenches, is a small troop of some Imperials. It's one of the last trenches before the river. And it looks like they've pulled out those guys to try to give this artillery support. So the difficult situation is you approach on the stormtrooper, you're going to be exposing yourself to that troop as they're approaching on the position. What do you do?
That's a good question. I think I'm too close to give up.
Half in and half out. Get up close and personal. Then you climb up that ladder. That stormtrooper is like grasping for his pistol to try to fire at you, but he's also kind of strapped in and not very mobile. So let's see you get up close and personal. Roll with brawn.
Yes.
Can I aid him maybe by
You
giving
certainly
him
can. Go ahead and
cover?
roll to aid.
I'm not very good at it, but maybe. I mean, we get the morale either way, right?
Exactly. It's worth it to try.
Yeah. So I'm rolling at a -1, I think.
Yeah, you are. Man. You fire, you take a couple of the troopers out, Binks, but then you're hit. Go ahead and mark a harm. You're hit as they coordinate fire, and 2 of them fire on your position, and you're taken 2 critically wounded, I believe.
Yep.
So what does that look like? I'll give you an opportunity. You can be moved to critically wounded, or those shots hit your gun and destroy the chip of your droid that you've carried around with you.
I'm gonna be critically wounded.
Okay.
There's just too much fire and too little cover. I take out the first one I have time to aim for him, and then they spot me. I take down one more, but then they start to coordinate fire, and I'm just standing right behind the corner of this bombed out building, and they destroy everything. They're shooting concentrated fire, taking out the corner, and hitting me.
Okay. That's nasty. Yeah, that's nasty. And you end up like slumping not far from Randar, the 2 of you guys. Corporal Fetu, you heard the fire. You hope that's enough, but you're the one who's going to have to do this now, up close and personal. Oh, did you add to morale? Because oh no, that's a fail. You don't get morale either. You just got your ass handed to you. Sorry. So Fetu, let's have you roll plus brawn. This is going to be vicious.
That is a -1.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah. That's awesome. I was like, thank goodness the dice decided that you're going to be pretty nasty. So you're harmed in the process.
Are we at 0 morale? No, we have 1 morale.
You have 1 morale. You could push it to a 10.
I need to see the move.
Up close and personal. I think that I find myself in a dangerous situation.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
I think you're all in a dangerous situation, but sure. Yeah. You stab. Well, what does it look like when you take out this trooper? Like, how does Corporal Nick do that?
So I'm on the ladder up to the firing platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a shock baton in one hand. And the trooper who is who's using the artillery cannon, is in a sort of weird spot, and he's reaching for his gun, and Neck just hits him in the side with this shock baton, and it shocks him. He like goes, he spasms a little bit, and he goes limp. And Neck just drags him off the side of the platform and crawls into his seat.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, and you crawl into the seat. You don't have time to really strap yourself in, and you're already under fire from the troopers. They're calling to each other, and they're calling to each other that this position has been compromised, and you've got control of the artillery gun. What do you want to do, Corporal Neck?
Well, at this point, I think there are three. I have three things that I want to shoot with this artillery gun. I think step one, first shot, I'm gonna swing it around and I'm gonna try and shoot at this cluster of stormtroopers that just showed up.
Awesome.
That are laying on fire with this huge anti-tank artillery gun. So,
yeah, let's do that step first then.
Yeah.
Go ahead and pull the trigger.
What am I rolling with that? That's I am
Yes, you're rolling with I.
Shot.
Oh, wow. You are not.
I would appreciate help if anyone is willing. And not, and hopeful that they won't die as a result.
I think, if I may, do we have comms between ourselves or no? I feel like last time we didn't, or we did. There's something fishy about comms.
Remember,
he's close enough to hear me yell, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so
you're in yelling range.
So I'm going to, at this point, I think I'm going to use my move, or attempt to use a move. In a moment of doubt, inspire courage to others. I'm just going to start yelling, assuming Randar already assumes, hey, this is it for this section. We're kind of, he looks over at Binks. Binks blasted up. Randar's wound from an hour ago when they took the last trench reopened with the last hail of blaster bolts, so half of his sides all gored up and messed. And he's just going to yell out over the obstruction, hearing the artillery manipulating. And he's just gonna say, Neck, blow them all to hell. Take as many of these goddamn troopers with you. Do it for the Republic. Take the planet. Take the shot. Yeah. So I will roll with Valor.
Yeah, roll with
minus
Valor.
1. So just +1.
Oh, wow. I love the 7 to 9 result on this. It's insane.
Yep. And I get an 11.
Wow. Okay, you get a +1 on your next roll.
So I'm rolling at -2.
We got some roll for you.
2.
Wow. Wow, that is some stuff, man. I think what happens is you swing that artillery gun around, fire on the troopers, and they just there's this huge explosion. The troopers get thrown all over the place, but then that other artillery gun spins around and fires on your artillery gun because he knows it's been compromised, and you're going to mark a wound as this thing gets slagged. It fires and hits the barrel, right? So that thing explodes. You get thrown clear of it because you didn't strap yourself in. Otherwise, you'd be a very dead person. But instead, you get to mark harm. Your ears are ringing. You've been thrown in the mud. There is a smoking char of that artillery gun. And you're right, Corporal Neck, you're right in the middle of the many bodies of stormtroopers.
Yeah, I think this is a survivor now.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna attempt to avoid a situation with grave consequences. Okay, let me look at what these stats mean, just so I can remember properly. I am going to run towards the artillery gun, because that is what I am most afraid of right now. And if I am close enough to it, it cannot shoot at me.
That is a true statement.
So that's, so Neck is in this crater with all these, stormtroopers, this blackened pit where the artillery gun fired, and he's looking at, the smoking char of where the old artillery gun used to be. He's pretty close to where the still functioning artillery gun is aiming at, and thinking on his feet, he just bolts towards it. Get close enough, you are out of range again.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. Let's see if you as a survivor can do this.
So I think that is wit, because he's thinking on his feet.
Yeah, I buy it.
He's doing something that is objectively insane, because he thinks it's clever enough. So 9.
Mess that up. Get a full success, baby.
Yeah, I'll spend that morale. I make it through unscathed.
Wow. So you charge straight at the artillery gun. It fires over your head. It takes out the last section of the building. Like Randar and Binks, that building just falls around you guys. There's like clatters of bricks and Duracrete around you. And then you're there. You're right underneath it, Corporal Neck.
I am right underneath it.
You hear the click and clatter as the trooper that was in the artillery unit is now unhooking and taking himself out of the harness. He's going to try to basically get out and shoot you in the face. That is his plan.
It worked once. I hope it works again. I think while he's sliding down the ladder, I'm just going to try and hit him in the back of the head.
Let's get up close and personal and see how this goes. There's no morale left.
No morale left. Four.
Oof, 4. 4 is... That is rough. Yeah, I think what happens is you slip around trying to take your shot. You're trying to move up close to him, and he fires on you before you even get to the ladder. He's just going to stay up there, and he fires on you, and you take a harm, and you can't even get up to the guy. He's just going to sit there in his little seat. He could jump out if he needs to, climb up further. He's got this is Star Wars. He has the height advantage.
Yeah.
Can't let him have the high ground. That was our mistake. We should have saw this coming a mile away.
That's the high ground. So you take a harm, and you didn't even get close enough to do your dirty work. What do you want to do? That hurt too, right? You're critically wounded.
Could I jump in
We're all
and
wounded.
Can you jump in and do what?
So I think at this point, Randar has had the most time to finish the greater part of a death stick. The buildings just blew up. Already he can sense, he's not getting a good look. Obviously, he's hiding behind this obstruction, so he doesn't know what's happening behind him. But this isn't going exactly like he expected it to go. So I think Randar kind of like pulls himself up onto the debris, onto the rubble that they're taking cover behind, and kind of leans over it with the cigarette, the death stick dangling from his mouth. And if he can see this other turret, he's going to fire his blaster at the stormtrooper that has Corporal Fatu pinned down. Okay. He's a terrible shot, but maybe the sound of it will distract him.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it will. That sounds like you are using your eye. As you're taking a shot, right?
Yeah, taking a shot, -1 for the eye, -1 for threat, so -2.
Good Lord. This game is punishing.
Yeah, I love it. My one eye's all swelled up. There's just blood pouring down it from a big gash. And I get a 5. So that's how bad it is.
That's how bad it is. You fire a few shots, but you realize like you can't clear your eyes, and he's not even paying attention to you. You're not even a threat. I think that adds a stress to you. What do you take a -1 in an attribute to?
Well, I just take another -1, so I think it goes to my valor. Actually, I think that I'm not even a threat to these guys. Really hurts who I think I am. You know.
Totally. I mean that totally makes sense, and that is the thing. Is you're ignominious right now. Your ability to protect your guys, your ability to actually force your will is gone, and you're just firing. You're not even sure if you're even close to the artillery gun. Binks, I think as you're lying there, you're able to hear B1 NX.
I'm here.
We are going to cease function if you do not move forward.
I know.
You can set me to overload.
I don't want to do that.
Then you will need to move.
I think we can do this together. And what I'm going to do is I am going to hook myself into the droid brain in the rifle. And we're going to aim together, like getting that extra boost of power to try to take out that stormtrooper on the artillery gun.
So yeah, I like that. Here's what, and I don't even know if this even has a mechanical impact, but if you're willing to like merge your droid brain, I'll give you a +1 on that. But then part of your personality is going to be subsumed by combining yourself with this other droid, right?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay.
So I am shooting. So this is pull the trigger. That's I have a 1, but there's a -1, and I get a +1, so it's a total of a +1.
Correct.
Yeah, and no morale or anything. Roll
Hey,
the
but
dice.
you're no longer rolling flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at
Oh
that.
my gosh!
Look at that, you hero.
Oh
It's
man.
like every other roll is 10 plus, and every other is just nothing.
Yeah. I think we see like a couple of different reticles like cycle in as the two of you are working together in concert, and then as that one trooper is moving around trying to draw a bead on Corporal Neck, just pull the trigger and it sliced right through his eye, and he falls limp and falls off of the little seat carriage and splats onto the ground right beside you, Corporal Neck. Corporal Neck, You see that he had a thermal detonator.
Yeah, he has the thermal detonator. I take it off his belt. And I pull the pin on it and I run as fast as I can out of there.
Okay. Sweet. So let's go ahead and have you pull the pin, roll with brawn.
Oops.
Okay.
Oh, you have a 0 brawn. I thought brawn was the one you had a -2.
No, that's his eye.
Luckily.
He does not shoot at people.
6.
Yeah, 6 happens. So you set off that thermal detonator and run away. Yeah, what happens? Yeah, I think this one was pretty simple, right? You didn't even have to aim. You just had to drop it at your feet. The problem was getting away. So I think that you're caught in the explosion. And I think we lose Corporal Nekfe too. I think that's what happens. The thermal detonator has a larger blast radius and a quicker ping than you thought. Unless somebody can do something here, I think you're killed in action.
Sorry, just a second. My dog is losing her mind.
Oh, that's okay. Actually, let's go ahead and take our mid-game break as we think about that.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Let's take like 10. See you guys in a few. So
with the thermal detonator still going off, this place has been blown. It's been secured. There's no troops currently engaged with us, right?
correct. Absolutely. It is.
Okay.
It is blown to hell. That crater that it was settled down in is slag at this point. That thermal detonator was way more than a grenade. And the two, Sergeant Randar and Binks, you don't see Corporal Neck anywhere. Over comms, Randar, you're pretty much too far from being able to hear the lieutenant until they set up lines.
Yeah.
But you still hear comm traffic as
This is Fody, Lieutenant Gemma Fody. Can anyone hear me? I'm pinned down. I've shot up a flare. I don't have any more. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, pilot. This is Sergeant Kenneth Randar of the section. The numbers. We hear you. We saw the flare. We've just secured an anti-tank battery. We saw your location. We will be with you soon. Stay alive, stay strong. We need to regroup here, and we will be on your position immediately.
Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you. I'll do everything I can.
All right.
Listen, I've got intel here. So if I don't make it, you need to scrub, okay? Scrub this. I'm going to hide it in the seat.
Keep that. All right. You do what you think is best. Keep this line clear, and we'll be with you shortly. Keep the comms on.
Comms on.
And then I'm going to. I want to look behind us at what was our line, knowing that they should be pushing forward. I need to spot some medics and some engineers to take care of me and Binks here as soon as possible.
why, yes, you should do that thing.
Yeah, so I would like to faithful through adversity.
Yep.
Roll with valor, which is only +1 now. And I get a 10, so that's great news. It's great news.
That's fantastic. That's exactly what you needed. On a hit, you get to recover harm, right? You're trying to spot your corpsman, your good buddy, the Zabrak, Private Yafin Lego. He has made his way up, and when you call out for him, he comes through with a few members of your section. We'll say that Corporal Sham Walden and Private Toner Bragan give him some cover, so he comes up and sees you. Binks, though, yeah, you need Randur or some other engineer.
Could I make a roll or?
Yeah, faithful through adversity for you.
Yeah. Okay. So we still have the general -1.
I think I'm going to relax that right now. You guys just completed an objective. You're actually out of the main trench warfare for just a moment. You are behind enemy lines, so that will present some other complications. But for this moment, no, it is not affecting you.
Okay, so I'm back to rolling flat. That's a 7.
Wow. Okay, on a 7 to 9, you recover 1 harm, but efforts to retreat your wounds have impacted the ability for others to receive aid. You mark a stress. So, yeah.
I'm down to moderately wounded, and I get a -1 to an attribute. I think that's going to be wit because of this merger with the other.
Oh, yeah,
droid.
it's disorienting.
Yeah.
We never gave a code name or any kind of name to that droid, but I think maybe an adjustment to B1NX's name to represent the shared consciousness would be kind of interesting. So not a rush, but that's something to think about.
Yeah, I think they were probably like B3NX or something. So I think maybe, yeah, we're sticking with B1NX.
Okay. Works for me.
Seeing that Corporal Fatu is nowhere to be around and the size of that explosion, Randar suspects the most obvious. And as soon as, replacements and other members of the section start filling in, he's going to order them to start reinforcing this position. He doesn't want to let this get lost after all that work they put into it. And he kind of, he stares off on the horizon, remembering the last time he failed to do that when he almost lost him the first time. So Randar, men, I need you to come in here, take some of these chunks from these artillery batteries and reinforce the walls. They're gonna come back for this harder than we fought for it. So we can't make it easy for them.
Cool.
Binks.
So yeah. You call
Oh,
Binks. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go.
yeah. Binks, how are you doing, buddy? Did you make it through?
We think so.
We think so. That's new. Is that going to be a thing from now on, Binks?
Unknown.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. When we get back to town, that first oil bath is going to be on me, buddy. All right. But we got to get through this.
Yes.
And I would like to attempt to, provide
Offer some
comfort.
Yeah, there we go.
When I draw upon bonds of friendship and community to distance yourself from the war, roll with valor. All right. So I'm rolling with a +1 still.
No. Oh, that's right. From your stress.
Because my stress is still hurting me. And I get an 8. So on a mixed success, your antics have landed you in hot water with some other soldiers in the trench. Someone or something gets lost or broken. I think so. Any member on your section removes 1 stress. I think it's going to be.
I have an idea that maybe because and now I think maybe it's not entirely legal to connect droid brains together. It seems like a thing that people in Star Wars would be suspicious of.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's the thing of the MNO, the mesh network ordinance that strictly precludes hive minding droid personalities. Yeah, I like that.
So you're thinking that lands us with okay, I see what you're saying. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think you remove one stress, Binks, because it's any member of the section. I feel like it should be you. Yeah, I think as the replacements, as the fresh troops kind of come in and they hear us talking about what you just underwent, like they give us a weird eye.
Mhm.
And then I tell them to get on latrine duty immediately and give them rough work for giving you a stink eye.
Shan Walden's going to remember that. Here we go.
Man, this game's brutal.
Harsh. So Binks, you, I guess, recognize that he gave you some comfort. Is there anything you want to do in response?
I
Your sergeant
think
looks
I
rough.
should return the favor in some way. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I think Sergeant, you should see to the replacements. I'll take care of Neck. And
Yeah, Binks, I'll do that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and
so I'll go down into the crater after the thermal detonator and just gather up if there are any pieces left and bury them.
Josh, what, if anything, of Corporal Neck can Binks find?
You can find his personal item, which is a silver cigar case with a Bothy's engraving on it, which you probably can't read because I couldn't read an engraving if it was in Arabic. So, but if you ever find a Bothy's translator, you would know that it says Feitu on it, but it does not say Nek Feitu. It is a different member of his family and clans.
Yeah, I'll take that and bring it back to the sergeant. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this that's not like I found this. I believe it has belonged to an ancestor of Corporal Neck, and it might bring comfort to a member of his family to have it back.
Binks, when
Once this is over.
Yeah, when you find Randar, you kind of find him overseeing the replacements, but he's kind of standing stoically in a corner, and you can tell he has a little hollow in his hand, and in it's clearly a family of beings, but they're not humans. It's clearly not Randar's family, and you kind of startle him, and he quickly turns it off, and he turns and he looks at you. He says, I'll take that, Binks. Yeah, we'll get this out of here. Thank you for finding this. Thank you for tending to Corporal Feitu. And Randar kind of opens it and just looks at it, and he puts it into his bag, and you hear it clank against other personal objects, belongings that he's taken from soldiers who have fallen under his guidance, under his command. And he says, we'll get all this back.
Yeah, so let's see how well that worked out. Comfort is valor, right?
It is.
And we did not currently have the threat level, -1.
Correct.
So I'm rolling flat, and that is a 7.
Hey.
It wasn't all bad.
Yeah, so your antics land you in hot water with other soldiers in the trench, or someone or something gets lost or broken.
This has to be the first one, I think. The second one, I don't see how that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think maybe this is the replacements getting spooked at this this collection of personal items that that is to be brought back. It's obvious that casualties are high, and this was nothing special. That someone died and just left behind some trinket. We're a bit too matter of fact about it. So it's it spooks them.
Yeah, I can see that. And among those replacements, I think we have someone for Josh who tell us a little bit about your replacement that's just shown up here out of the blue.
Yeah, one of these replacements is Private Jan Colbo, who is, wearing one of the freshest uniforms you've seen in months. These little doughy, fresh out of rebel boot camp, landed a couple days ago, just showed up. They, told him you're with the 8th section, and he said, yes, sir. And now he's here, and it is a little alarming, but he's in good spirits. He hasn't seen anything too bad just yet. That'll be for later, when he gets disillusioned with the horrors of war.
Private.
So I'm looking at. I'm sorry. Real quick question about our wonderful private. Private Colbo? I see here rebels are the only ones who stood up for us on planet.
He comes from an Imperial world, I think.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. That's what I needed. Thank you. All right. Carry on, Sergeant Randar.
Private, at attention. Let me see your weapon. He holds his hand out for the private's A2080.
Yeah.
A280.
He hands it over.
He checks the scope on it, checks the power cell, checks everything. Is it in working order? Is it in tip-top shape? What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, it looks fresh off the assembly line.
Yeah, you haven't even calibrated this to your own eye, have you? That's going to be a problem, Private. Where are you from?
Where am I from? I don't know any planets in Star Wars.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. That's fine. We claimed that back a couple months, didn't we?
Yes, sir. Been good. Rebellion's been good to me, sir.
It's the Republic now, sir. Now.
Yes, sir. Republic.
Good. Now take your rifle, scope it in. We're going to be heading out soon. I'm sure we got a downed X-Wing pilot who needs us to get them or destroy the intel they were carrying.
A downed X-Wing? They shot down an X-Wing?
Yeah, kind of gives the private a steely glare, and he says, you are fresh, aren't you, boy? It's going to be a lot worse than that today. Now, go find Binks. He's our droid. He'll talk you through the preparations. I got a little bit of planning to do. And you all come back here, find me at this wall in about 5 minutes. And Randar turns on him and ignores him and goes back to looking at the map. He doesn't think twice about this, Private.
Yeah, the Kolbo turns around. He looks. He thinks, "All right, the droid," and he goes to the first droid he sees, which is hopefully Binks. I don't know if there are that many droids in the army.
If Sabine were playing, Sabine has a small baby droid, but yeah, you find Binks. Binks, what is bolted onto your like main carapace now that's kind of just a slapdash fix?
I think they grabbed a piece of stormtrooper armor from one of the ones I stabbed. So they're like blood spattered all over it, and it's just they cut it with a torch and just welded it on to cover up the worst blaster burns.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he sees you and he's a little alarmed at how much blood there is on you from the, vibro knife massacre you went on earlier. But he goes, "Hello there, Mr. Droid. I was told to report to you."
You can call us Binks. Most people do.
Yes, Binks.
And you are?
My name is Private Jan Kolbo. I'm new here.
I can see that. What did the sergeant tell you?
Well, he said 5 minutes till we till we go out for the X-wing. He said.
You've never been in combat before, correct?
Well, I've been on the range. I used to hunt at home, but I never shot anyone. If that's what you're asking.
I never got shot at.
No, not with a live round.
The most important thing for you to know is do not get shot. Stay in cover. Follow the sergeant's orders. Those things will sometimes contradict each other. You will have to resolve those contradictions.
Yes, sir. Don't get shot. Follow the sergeant's orders. This sounds like something I can do.
Don't call me sir.
All right, Mr. Binks.
I would like to, Rich. I would like to ask around to see if the people who are coming from the New Republic lines have any intel on what is on the X-wing. Do they know that they crashed? Do they know that the pilot's there? Is there already a party being sent that direction? Anything at all? So I start.
Awesome.
I'm going to use the ask around move to do that.
I love it. Roll with wit.
I got a 9, so mixed success. Something is demanded of you in return.
Yeah. I think you're asking around when you see coming up with a group across no man's land is none other than the lieutenant, Hula Tassam. And he comes down into the trench, looks around, sees you. You guys come up. He gives you a quick handshake, claps you on the arm, sees you wince. Did you see a medic?
Yeah, it's been a rough day, Hula. I've seen 2 medics, and it hasn't really done me much good. He puts another death stick in his mouth.
Oh, you need to stick your ass in a Bacta tank. Let you get pickled, Randar.
We got a lot of those laying around?
No, we don't have any.
Yeah, I didn't think so, Hula. What can you do for, boss?
Listen, Sector just took out that X-wing. They got wiped out after, but that pilot is reporting over comms that she's got some intel that we need.
Yeah, I spoke with her on the line. She stashed it in the seats, in the ejection seats, in case she doesn't survive. We going after her, sir?
We are.
I expected as much. You got any more intel for me? Where they're located?
Yeah, I can drop a pin on your map. I've got that set up. I'm going to be organizing, setting up lines. This is our new front lines. We on the doorstep of taking the river.
That's good, sir. And when we take the river, what next?
Then we cross into Cyber when we take that fortress.
Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, because I'm sure you're about to give me something. Is there going to be a time, sir, when some of these lines can be refreshed? We need to get rest, sir. Binks, he's been shot to hell, and quite frankly, no engineers out here can really do him the service he needs.
I understand. Listen, Kempf. Get me that data rod. If you can give me the pilot, that's a bonus. Then I can work on rotating people out. Okay?
All right. Yeah, that's
grab some bodies. There's some new blood. Bring them with you. They need to cut their teeth. We'll be working on setting up our communication lines.
You got it, sir. Hey, sir, do you have any more death sticks?
Unbuttons his coat, reaches in. He says, this stuff's going to kill you someday. He hands you a fresh pack.
If the imps don't do it first, sir. And Randar's going to turn around and start handing out those death sticks to all the troopers that he's taken with him on this next charge.
Hey, is this your first death stick, Private Colpo?
Yes, it is.
Do you smoke it?
He looks at it, and everyone else is smoking them. So he takes a puff of it, and he just starts coughing his lungs out.
Randar laughs. Oh, yeah, you're a fresh doughboy, aren't you? Those lungs are pink, I'm sure. Don't worry, this death stick will take the edge off that. It's terrible. It's right there in the name, isn't it? But what are you going to do?
Yeah, and he's coughing, and everyone's kind of staring at him. And when he stops coughing, he takes another puff of it and try and not look weak. And he just starts coughing all over again.
It sucks. I love it though.
All right, I would like to, after handing out the death sticks and kind of just letting all the men, Banks, Private Jan Colbo, anybody else who we're taking with us, that moment of like, okay, we're smoking this, we're going to relax a little bit, take the nerves off. While they're doing that, I want to scan the horizon and get any intel on this first push that we're about to make.
Okay.
Now I have bad eyes, but that's okay.
You do. Anyone want to help you get some intel?
Private Jan will help.
I love it.
He's fresh. He's hoping to make a good impression. So that is a roll with Valor.
Yep.
Valor.
I rolled an 8,
to help.
If you get me, I'll get up to 9.
Okay. So I have a +1 in Valor. That is a 9 also.
Okay, so you get your morale. You guys get up to a 1 morale now because you are helping out. And the 9 will push you to +1, so you're up to a 9 on Scan the Horizon.
So on a 7 and 9, your view of the battlefield is incomplete. Okay. So do I still get to ask you a question, or is that just no?
You can ask me a question. It just means that I guess I don't have to give that an entirely full answer.
So following what happened in the first charge this morning or earlier today, Randar wants to look for any sniper nests along the way.
Nice. Yeah, so you're looking around for sniper nests. Here along the river, you can see the kind of uneven set of husks. There used to be in Cyward this very nice community. They all had river front property. They were on the other side of Cyber, so they were away from all the hustle and bustle. This was kind of the like manicured, beautiful Duracrete sculpture type stuff. So you're able to pick out a few spots in the husks of bombed out buildings that are very excellent sniper spots that probably made it pretty easy for them to hold this as long as they have.
Okay. All right. So with that, Randar turns to the gathered section mates. He says, all right, our mission is we're pushing forward to recover a lost X-Wing pilot. And if not them, their data rod. Now, I suspect we're going to come under heavy fire. As we push forward, there are a number of potential sniper nests. I want you to keep your eyes peeled for any flashes, anything you see, any movement. But most of all, I need you to keep your head down. And I know that's difficult, but it's the only way we're going to get through this. It's the only way we're going to push through to this next point to secure this data. And as soon as we can do that, we'll be back. The lieutenant promised me that we will be able to cycle out. It's been a hard couple of days, a hard fight here in the trenches, but if we get this job done, we're going to get some rest. You all with me? I said, are you all with me?
Your sector mates, the scrubs are all like, hoo-ah!
Yes, Sergeant.
All right. And I'm hoping to kind of call to action as I lead this charge.
Nice. That sounds awesome. Go ahead and call to action.
My value.
You got your valor back. Yeah, you already marked that good.
Yeah, it's +2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And I get a 12 on the call to action. So
wow, that's
everyone
nice.
around me gets a +1 on their next roll. So the call to action succeeded. Now I need to charge myself.
Yeah. You're always charging first. Send the scrub. See what the replacement will do.
This is how he does it.
You lead by example. I love it.
And I got a 14 on my charge.
Oh my goodness, you guys are using up all the good stuff. That's great.
Just like last time. Perfect charges, a lot of shots.
Man, you just charge forward towards that crater. And as you're doing that, there's a cheer that comes up from your side as you see 4 of the hover tanks are now moving across because they're able to encroach on the territory, and they're starting to fire on embankments across the river. With that pounding is making things a lot easier for you guys, Randar, when you take off. So who's next? Binks, are you going to charge across with your +1?
Yeah. I will do that. So what's the threat level?
Threat level is a 1 as you guys are getting back in the shit. Or the poodoo, sorry.
So I'm rolling flat as usual.
Ooh.
That's a 7.
Nice. A 7 is better than a not 7. 7 to 9, you make your way through danger. Mark stress, face a new obstacle. What do you want?
Oof. Yeah, I think I will face an obstacle. Stress is, or actually, no, I'm going to take the stress. I'll take the stress. I think, yeah, I think it's the wit again. It's still disoriented, and
yeah, because now it's communicating with you, right?
Yeah, and also probably weirding other people out a bit, and I think wit is has some of the interpersonal stuff.
Yeah, it's a measure of one's improvisational ability, tactical skill, and general intellect. So yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're calling out orders to support Sergeant Randar, and you're getting odd looks from the replacements that don't know how to take, first of all, droid. Second of all, droid that uses an us. Kind of. Third of all, we have never defined a rank for you. I don't even know if your droid has a rank. I think you're just here. You're like a specialist.
Yeah, and I think like I'm using maybe 2 different voices at different times. So it's extra weird.
That's awesome. And now it is time for our fine private. You get a +1 from Sergeant Randar, a -1 from the threat level. You're rolling with Valor, so overall it is a sum of +1 for your roll.
Great. Yeah, so Private Colbo just books it like the rest of them. He's doing his best. And he gets a 9.
Ooh, nice. So 7 to 9, you get the same choice. Mark some stress or another obstacle.
I think this is a pretty stressful experience for someone who's never charged enemy lines before.
Yeah, I think what happens, you charge off and you're trying to follow all the things Randar saying, like down and everything, and then a blaster bolt glances off the top of your helmet, and that's enough to spook the living hell out of you. You guys charge forward. You end up kind of winding around some of the husks of buildings to give yourselves a little bit of extra cover, and you all get together, and we're going to say that you lose one of the guys as they just got shot right in the throat. That's another thing you get to witness, Private Colbo. But you have Sham Walden and Toner Bragan are with the 3 of you, and all 5 of you have kind of clustered in this corner of a building. And you look through what was a window, right? But there's just like this shard of plasteel, and you can see that crater where the flare had gone up. You can see just the top of the antenna from the little like ejection seat. And you also see that there are some troopers that are moving from farther away from you, Imperial troopers that are making their way towards that that little area where the Lieutenant Gemma Foti is trying to hole up. She's moved up to the crater, and occasionally she'll kind of pop up and fire her little blaster pistol and then drop back down. She's still got her helmet on, the old X-Wing style, pilot style helmet. It looks like she's been shot a couple times. Her left arm is not, like, it's just hanging limply at her side.
So knowing that we have this kind of the idea then is we have troopers moving towards her. We don't have any necessarily snipers on us because the tanks were dropping bombardments on them. Could I call up the tanks and order a strike, like order some artillery fire on the troopers to cover our next charge?
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I think, what is that?
Would this maybe be strategized?
Yeah, let's have you strategize. This sounds fun.
Since the resource is the tank, the intelligence is where everything's located. I don't know.
Yeah, you got a +1 for both.
So I guess the plan that to when you form and complete a plan, roll without any extra. Okay, so I think the plan would be that the tanks are going to open fire on the troops, hopefully wiping them out. But if not, at the very least, breaking their ranks, and we will, the section of us will charge in on them. And with their ranks broken, it'll be easier to wipe them out. I think that's the plan.
All right. 10 plus. First of all, you get both. You've got resources and intelligence. On a 10 plus, they wipe out those troopers, and you guys have got a moment to go grab Fodi and get back.
Perfect. All right. And here it comes. +2. Strategize. 13.
Nice. So you dial it in, working through with
Thanks,
one of the
Sergeant
tankers.
Kent Randar. I need you to open fire on these troops at this location. It is 3 clicks north of the river.
I guess I can spare a shell or 2 for you lunkheads.
The only reason you're in this territory is because I opened the way for you, so you're going to go ahead and reward my boys. Thank you.
Oh, this is Randar, huh? Fine. Let me see what I can do.
Appreciated. Men, we are going to... Yeah, and then they start landing. It's like, and that's our cue, and then charge.
Sweet. So I don't know if this is a charge. Let's take a look. Is there a couple others? I think you guys are. I don't know if you're bogged down though. Yeah, I think it's a charge. Yeah, here we go. Gonna race towards your objective.
I got a 6 on my charge roll.
Okay. Yeah, that's you're gonna have to mark harm. Yeah, you go out into the no man's land again, and you're wide open, and you get shot in the back by one of the snipers off to the side from a building. They were just kind of waiting for you guys to move away from the buildings, and then Imperial sniper hits you hard, and yeah, sends you sprawling. You're gonna have to crawl the rest of the way. You know,
I got a
critically
6
wounded.
as well.
Oh goodness. Okay. Yeah. I think Binks, you get your left leg blown off. Like it just hits right at a joint, and you start to take a step, and boom, you lose your balance, and you hear in your head, losing function, losing function, losing function. Okay, Private
I know.
Colbo. Nice. What was Private Colbo's results?
I got a 9.
Nice.
Beginner's luck.
I love it. 7 to 9, you make your way through danger. Choose one. Serious gains, but the cost of stamina, mark stress, or you face a new obstacle.
Let's say I'll mark stress again.
Okay.
And I will take that -1 to brawn.
Okay.
Oh, Rich, I just realized I don't think we have a threat level for this thing. I don't think we've been rolling negatives.
That's true. The threat level is 1, and it would not have changed anyone's rolls. So thank you for reminding me of that. Everybody who's the 6 would have been a 5, and the 9 would have been an 8. So we're good. But thank you for that reminder. So yeah, here we go. You make it across, Colbo. You get stressed, and you get to the very edge, and that's when you see that pilot. She is on row 15, column E, Gemma Duck Fody. She's maybe a little older than you, but definitely not nearly as doughy. And when you get there, she reaches up and kind of grabs to help pull you down into the crater with her one good arm. So, sorry, it would have been right arm. Her left arm is hanging useless. And she says, good move. Okay, listen, the data rod's in there. So I'm going to go get it. I think we can get out of here. And she's going to start moving down into the crater a little bit and crawls over to start to fetch out the data rod. Colbo, what are you doing?
Yeah, Colbo is gonna go with her. He is primed and ready to take orders. So she says that, and he goes, yeah. And he, gets on the ground, and he is sort of crawling along with her.
Cool. And she goes in, and you see that, the seat for an X-Wing is not gigantic, right? And this is just the thing that pops out of it. She reaches behind the seat. She pulls out this data rod, and she shoves it into your hand. She goes, you keep this. They're all shooting for me. Okay?
He goes, no. You're coming back with us, right?
Oh, I'm
I
gonna
have to
try.
get back over that line. You have to get back over that line.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. But let's be realistic. Okay, so you take it.
Yeah, he takes it, and he stuffs it into the pocket of his uniform. And he goes, well, all right, but we're getting back there. All right, don't worry about it. We're getting back home.
Okay. Colbo, right?
Yeah. Jan.
I'm Gemma.
Nice to meet you.
Then Randar, you come crawling over, and then Binks, you crawl your way into the crater, and you see that Kolbo's made it. You don't know where the other privates are that came with you guys, and Binks and Randar. So the four of you, counting the lieutenant.
Yeah, so Randar kind of crests the crater, his death stick's all bent to hell, and he's just like, oh, look at this, Binks, the private's already got her. We can go home. And he rolls into cover, and he says, Lieutenant, I guess we're heading back. It was a quick push forward.
Sure, I thought maybe we could just, hang out here for a bit longer, Sergeant.
Oh, I tell you what, there are a few things I would love more. He takes the death stick out and throws it. And he's like, do you need a smoke?
Oh, she stuffs it into her. She reaches in and pulls out and does the kind of the Zippo thing of like flicks it and it automatically opens, and she lights it up. God, this is
All
good.
right. Yeah, it's not bad, right? Comes from the lieutenant himself. It's pretty good stuff.
Flicks it cool, and she's got the little rebellion insignia on her Zippo, and she slides that
sick.
back into her pocket.
All right, well,
Sergeant, Lieutenant, this is not productive.
yes, thank you, Binks. Of course, it's not productive, but it takes the edge off, and right now that's what we need. All right, hold on just a second. I get back on the horn with the tanks, and I let them know to watch this space. AATs, this is Sergeant Kenneth Randar of the section. We have the asset in custody. Custody, that's not the right term. It doesn't matter. I'm a little shook right now. If you can, give us cover and fire, but do not open fire until you see us, until you have visual on us. I don't want to be getting hit by none of your wild shells.
Yeah, like you're asking for my help, but you're insulting my aim. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way, boy. All right. Now, what?
Gimma looks at you, Binks, and she says, what's your designation?
Binks.
Binks, listen. That sniper that hit you guys is right there. She's pointing, but like she's not getting above the crater. We're not going to get 2 feet out of here unless you take that thing out.
I'm not getting 2 feet out of here with only 1 foot, so I'll stay behind and cover you until you're safe.
Private, looks like it's time for you to dust off the aim on that rifle. I'm not able to shoot for anything, for poodoo I found today. Blood kind of keeps running on the end of my eye. You gonna take this shot? You ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Sergeant.
All right. And Randar kind of leans against like the crater, so he's not even looking in the direction of the target. He's just verbally giving him direction into this maneuver. Now, Binks here, he's a bit better of a shot, so he can probably give you some finer pointers. But what you're gonna do, you're gonna lean up, you're gonna post, you're gonna angle your rifle just a little bit, not to put your head over the crest. You don't want to reveal yourself at all. Binks, any other advice here for our boy Kolbo?
Don't get shot.
Oh, straight to the point. You gotta love a robot. Now, I'm gonna fire a few shots over here. Hopefully get the sniper's attention that direction. If the lieutenant here is correct and he's waiting for us, then maybe he'll fire off a shot in that direction and you can take yours. That's about the best we can hope for. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're gonna need to flip the lid off your scope. It's protecting it from the water. You need to you're gonna look through that and you're not gonna see anything. Go ahead and take that off.
Yeah, and he looks down at his gun and the scope cover is on, and he pulls it off. And
yeah, it's all right. It happens to the best of us. All right. On the count of 3. So he counts to 3 and then he fires a few shots in one direction to try and draw the attention of the sniper.
It sounds like you're giving some aid here. Let's see you roll it. Roll with Valor.
All right. And what's the threat level now?
The 1.
Okay. So this one. I get a 10.
What? Nice. That's perfect. Go ahead and take a +1. You don't take any repercussions from it. And also you add 1 to the morale.
So we're up to 2 now.
Yeah.
so I am rolling flat. That is a 4. Uh, uh, Can I spend morale to aid myself?
You can spend morale to boost the roll, yeah, but
Okay.
it's
So
one for one, so
So I can spend 1 morale for a +2 because of my unwavering courage.
Oh wow. Okay,
Which means
okay.
that we can boost this to a 7.
I'm not sure you can spend morale to help yourself.
When you spend morale to aid a member of the section, it says. Yeah,
Well,
so
I'm a member of the section.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I was just going off of memory. I maybe misread.
Well, I mean, you might be right. I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna allow it because this is bizarre. I like it kind of. Sweet. So you receive a +2 instead of a +1 to their roll.
But we still need another
Yeah,
+1,
that gets
right?
to a 6.
Yeah, so we have 2 morale.
Yeah, I guess I just reach over and tweak the settings on your scope a little bit, just to adjust for whatever. I was going to say wind, but I don't guess. I guess that doesn't affect blaster bolts much. But yeah.
Yeah. So with both the morale points spent, that boosts me to 7.
Wow. Burn through all your morale for the kid to pull it off, but on a 7 your shot's on target, but choose one of the following. You're harmed in the process, your shot draws unwanted attention to another member of the section, you find yourself in a dangerous situation, mark stress.
I think that I am harmed. I think that when I pop up over the side, the sniper sights me just as I sight him. We both fire, and I get shot by a blaster bolt.
Ooh, like side of the face kind of glancing
my first
blaster bolt across. Yeah.
My first blaster bolt.
That's it. Yeah. Awesome. You get hit, but you're already squeezing the trigger. So it's like we see the slow motion, the 2 blaster bolts passing by each other. And then you see it kind of jerk, the Imperial sniper gets jerked back by the blaster bolt, hitting him right in the throat, the chest there, and he falls back. And yeah, I think what we see is there's just this moment of quiet, and all of you pick up and take off for the new lines, grabbing Fody, who's limping. Binks. Does somebody carry Binks?
I think I'm just crawling behind.
Oh God, yeah, you're just gonna crawl slowly, mechanically, like from the first Terminator.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. And then we're gonna go ahead and mark XP, all 3 of you, because you have achieved your objective. That should put 2 of you to an advancement and put Private Colbo a step closer to it. So I'll give you guys each a few moments as you make your way to the new front lines, which is close enough to the river where you can actually hear the river going by. You can smell the river instead of just that mud and blood. You're right on the doorstep of being able to make it into Cyward and deal with the fortress. So what is it that we see? Each of you, I'll go ahead and let you improve 1 harm at the end here. Instead of more die rolling and everything, I'd like to kind of bring things to a close. So you get some Bacta, you get some fresh supplies. So what is it that what's our last bit for Sergeant Randar as we're starting to bring this bit of mess to a close?
Sergeant Randar, I think Sergeant Randar, when he gets back to the lines, he's going to talk to the lieutenant about getting Colbo a marksmanship commendation. He's gonna tell him, 1 shot, 1 kill, man. What are you gonna do with this kid? He's a marksman. He's born and bred for it. And he's going to. I think that's it. I think that's just his thing that he's gonna do. Is he gets it back. He's proud of his men. He talks him up to the lieutenant. They didn't just get the intel; they got the pilot. They saved someone. Get her back up in the next wing and get some more info. The fight continues.
Cool. Go ahead and roll with Valor. I think you're definitely providing some comfort to the young private. No threat level.
No, a 5 isn't going to give anybody comfort, alas.
Yeah, the reputation of the entire section is damaged. Let me think on that. Let's just... Okay. I'm not sure how the section's reputation is damaged, so I'll have to... If people have ideas, throw them
I can suggest something. I think that Randar comes back and immediately starts talking up a promotion for this kid for his first battle. I think people are thinking that's a little unfair to the other people who've been in this fight longer.
I can see that. Yeah, that feels right. Okay.
Randar's playing favorites with the lieutenant to get his section more accommodations.
Yep, that's totally what's happened. Dang. Just can't win for losing, man. Okay, cool. What do we see for Binks when you're the last one there, right? You just keep crawling through. They've already made it. Some were having death sticks.
Yeah, I think Binks gets up and starts because we're in the new trench lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's just supporting himself on the wall and just looking for someone to give him a leg, basically.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think you are being faithful through adversity.
That sounds about right. So that's Valor and no threat level, so flat. That's a 7.
Okay, on a 7 to 9. You're in hot water with other soldiers in the trench, or someone or something gets lost or broken, but you can go ahead and heal 1.
That's the provide
Oh, did I read the wrong? I'm sorry. I did.
It's recover 1 harm, but efforts to treat your wounds have impacted the ability of others to receive aid. Mark 1 stress.
Oh, man.
I guess they're grabbing the leg of another droid that's more badly hurt. More
that's
damaged.
it. That's it. Like, oh, that's perfect. Wow. Yeah, that one they basically just say, yeah, he's done for. Let him go.
So I'm down to lightly wounded.
Oh my goodness.
But I get -1 to another attribute. I think this is going to be brawn because I'm a bit my balance is a bit off with a new leg.
It was a different classification of droid. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Private Colbo? What do we see for him?
Yeah. When he gets back, when Colbo gets back to the lines, I think he's gonna he pulls the data stick out of his pocket that Gemma, you said?
Yep.
That Gemma had given to him earlier, and he sort of finds her in the crowd, and he gives it back to her, and he says, I told you we'd make it back to the lines.
And she just moves forward and hugs you with her one good arm and says, yeah. You're a good luck charm. Thanks, Colbo. And she kisses your cheek and kind of moves back, and she's all smiles. Yeah. Cool. Then I think we will bring things to a close. You guys will have a bit of respite. You're going to get rotated out. That's a thing we'll explore next session. And I would love to finish up. Don't forget advancements for Randar and Binks. So both of you can figure out what that is in between. Unless you already have the idea, then you can spring it on us. And if you guys have a few minutes, I'd love to do our stars and wishes to bring things to a close. We start with wishes so that we can end on stars. Who'd like to go first for wishes?
I'm not sure I have a wish. I really have to think. I think there was something where I think we were having to, and maybe this isn't a wish. It's this, to provide comfort. Some of the basic moves, it felt like we didn't get to them when we were in combat because it didn't feel like we could, if that makes sense. Like faithful through adversity, it seems like in the trenches, no matter what, you should be able to call out for a medic to help. And I think maybe we just weren't doing that as much. We weren't triggering those moves because like stress and harm is like killer. You know, as we're seeing, like I've been at moderate wounds since the first session. So all it takes is 2 hits to die, and then stress gets piled up. And I'm just kind of wondering, you know, wish, I guess, is that correct? Or basic moves, are we able to use basic moves anytime? And we're just kind of haven't been, just by the feel of it.
From my read of them, I think you can use it pretty much any time. Here's what I will say. I'm going to try to be a little more like suggestive of those moves. And we're definitely going to be opening up with you guys getting rotated out so we can explore the idea of a little bit of like downtime before you get thrown into some other mess. So
yeah,
hopefully that will.
You know what I think it is like narratively, I think it hasn't made sense because we've been on our own. It's been our section with like 2 other people, as opposed to a big push where we could call out for a medic or an engineer. I think that's what it is, which isn't bad because I actually really have enjoyed. I'll save that for stars.
Okay. Thanks, Cody. I'd like to go next.
I can go. I have, yeah, I had a similar feeling about it's weird because the failing at the moves is so incredibly punishing. So and I guess this isn't really a wish either. It isn't obvious to me how when you should roll for moves. I don't think you're doing it wrong. That's not what this is. It's just I'm not sure if if everyone is supposed to die all the time, or if you're supposed to roll less, or make fewer rolls. I'm not sure. I don't dislike the way we've done it. I think it's really cool because everything is, every time you make a move here, it's really dangerous, and I love it. Yeah, but I'm not sure if yeah, I guess I'm just not sure how the game is supposed to be played. But yeah, like I said, I don't think you're doing it wrong. It feels like we're rolling at the right times, but it makes me, yeah, I'm not sure.
I hear you.
That was...
It's yeah, it's the frequency of rolls is something I always worry about because, you know, I cut my teeth in more traditional, where like very micro task oriented, and like I always worry, like, have I broadened out this conflict resolution to the right spot with a move? So I hear you. I think I'm gonna try to skim back through some of the examples in Ross Rifles to refresh myself and make sure that I'm lined up appropriately. But I think that's a fair point, Anders. Thank you. Josh.
Yeah, I don't really have that many wishes. I thought this was I thought I had a wonderful time playing with everyone. So for me, this session went great. Went about as well as I think it could have. So I agree with the rest of you that I think it is a very punishing game. That might just be a design choice. You know, it's a World War I game, it's a pretty punishing war, right? So I haven't read the text, so I wouldn't be able to make that analysis properly. But I enjoyed it a lot. I don't have that many wishes.
Okay. Well, you went last with wishes. You can go first with stars. Josh, what stars did you have to hand out?
Yeah, I really loved the characters that were on play today. I thought that Kent Randar was a wonderful character. Immediately very immersive, very like, oh, I get who this guy is, and I appreciated that a lot coming into it, because you need to bounce off something when you start a game, and I just thought it was very easy to bounce off the characters that you and that Anders and that Rich sort of had laid out on the table. So thank you all for that.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Anders, what about you? What stars did you want to hand out?
Yeah, the same, basically. I think I enjoyed everyone's characters. It was great playing with you, Josh. I haven't played before, but I think you did a great job of bringing in like 2 new characters in a single session. That's that's well done. And I felt they were clear and distinct, and it worked really well. And I, again, for the game in general, whatever I said about the roles, this threat level thing is again, it makes me it evokes the feeling very, very well, because it's so oppressive in the right way. It's so punishing and exactly the way it should be. So yeah, that's probably the mechanic I like most in this game, when usually PBTA games like modifiers, we don't need no stinking modifiers, but here it's just perfect.
Thank you, Anders. Yeah, I agree. It's such a little thing, but man, it does so much. It's so oppressive. It's like an omnipresent threat. It's really cool. It's Cody. What about you? Do you have any stars stand out?
Yeah, third, of course, thirding the characters. I think everybody did a fantastic job. Josh, wonderful playing with you. That you pulled in, like Andrew said, you pulled in 2 new characters and quickly made them unique. I mean, Private Jan was drastically different from Fatu. I thought that was great. Anders, there's a lot of things you did that were so perfectly in line with your character. Like there's these moments where I think this is true for everybody, but you could have taken the easy way out for something like, oh, I'll lose this item that I've not used yet as a part of my character. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me. We've never relied on it. And you're like, no, I cannot do that. And it was just like, yes. Like, and that's something I want to say to everybody. I think everybody made those choices where the rules could have been gamed a little bit for us in our favor, but it didn't feel right with the tone of the game. Like when Fatu was, the thermal detonator was looming, I'm, walking around my house thinking like, what could we do to save him? And it's like, the only thing I could think of is my one move, which is call to action. It's like, do I yell out and say like, hustle, try and help him run faster? But it's like, it just doesn't feel right. It felt like that would be just trying to eke out a way out of the game. So I liked that I like that everybody played into that the game feels oppressive, that it's supposed to be hard, that there's those moments like taking the artillery or having the tanks bombard the troopers where it felt like the roles were leaning almost to action movie and not war movie. And we kind of played it that way for a moment. And then we're immediately punished for thinking like, oh, that's right. Like we can't just take over every turret and destroy the army ourselves. That's not how this game works. So that's one big star for whatever that was. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Thanks, Cody. Yeah, I agree across the board. Josh, like losing a character sucks, and you handle it like a pro, and then made an awesome comeback character. Like, I really liked both characters, but the new guy, like, who doesn't love the new guy in war movies? So such a great job of portraying that character, and the fresh face just nailed it, really nailed it. Anders, the combo brain droid and affecting your wit and like making mechanical choices to reflect the oddness of that was so cool. And then Randar, Cody, there were moments when you would just bark out orders that was just like, oh man, this is better writing than Mandalorian. Like, oh, I love that advice. That's so on point. That's so good. Really, really, really cool stuff. All in all, you guys embodied characters very well. I had a great time. So we will have a couple more sessions, and we'll go ahead and bring this to a close. So thank you all so much.